Good morning, Saskatoon. I'm Kerry Tarsoff. I'm sitting here with Nikki Hines, Saskatoon's only female jockey. And I met Nikki about a year ago. Actually, I was running for mayor, and I heard about a circumstance that actually pissed me off. And what I heard about was Prairieland Park putting out a big ad about horse racing and advertising all the foreign male jockeys that they had, and not once mentioning our own homegrown girl that we have here who's a jockey. It kind of pissed me off. And then later on I heard Carol Reynolds, who was also running for a ward in the city, got mad. So we started posting about Nikki to bring attention to the fact that Prairieland Park was being very sexist about their attitude, but also that they're not totally honest about what they do as an operation became more and more apparent to me. So I've tried to push it, but Nikki has really spearheaded a bunch of the fight. So Nikki, you know, there's a lot of things that have been happening over Prairieland Park, and a lot of the money that they take from the government, they go after it pretending like they need it for ag. They run a few ag shows out of their convention center, but really they're just building up their convention center using ag funding.
Yeah.
And the whole site is zoned ag. Even the city solicitor, who wasn't being totally honest in my view, and I would never trust that person for ethics no matter what, actually, from past experience, but they claim to say that the Sports on Tap bar is just a secondary use to the main racetrack, and that the convention center is a secondary use to the exhibition grounds. So most people, if you actually sit and think about that, you'll know that's a big bunch of bull. But that they keep going after money for ag because that's where they can find it. They don't go after the federal government for money for weddings. They don't go after wedding funding to create a wedding venue, or for the Sask Party convention to be held there. They don't go after money for that. They go after it for ag, and then all of a sudden it gets funneled into their other operations. So now they closed the track. Sports on Tap is got gambling already. It shouldn't exist in the zoning because it's a bar. And now they want to give up horse racing, but they want to keep all the gambling. So I forget how many thousands of days it's been since Standardbred have ever run here, but since they killed Thoroughbred, now this next few weeks they're running Standardbred racing, which is a sham because they're not even advertising they're doing it. They're literally doing it for 10 days with outside teams outside of our province, so ag from outside of our province, to just get the funding to be able to keep their gambling. They just want to keep horse gambling within their lucrative operations. And that's wrong. And they're stripping the lights off the track while they're simultaneously running the Standardbred as a last-ditch effort to keep their gambling alive. We should wake up to this. And I think that the city has done a disfavor to people like yourself that have tried really hard. And the people, we're at a horse ranch right now that are losing income around our city because they're wishing to funnel it otherwise. And they say they can't make a go of it, but they're hiring television camera people right now to simulcast their racing because they want the gambling, but they're not advertising to the public to say, hey, come out to the Standardbreds, because they don't even want you to know they're there. Mm-hmm. They want to slip it through. So what do you have to say, Nikki? Tell me, honestly, like, just let her rip.
Well, for once, I have very few words, and that's uncharacteristic for me, but I find it deplorable that a so-called nonprofit organization is looking for ways to make money off of other people, even from out of province. And I don't think that that's characteristic of a community-oriented nonprofit organization. Keeping things quiet, you know, you have to ask why. Why are things so quiet? Is there maybe something wrong there? And I think we all know the answer to that. So these 10 days of Standardbred races, for those who don't know, Standardbred is a different breed of racehorse, and currently the Standardbreds that are racing here at Prairieland Park are from Manitoba. So you have Manitoba Horsemen's Association who have come to Saskatoon to make some money and go home with the profits, leaving the Saskatchewan industry with nothing. And what that does for Prairieland is it allows them to collect betting on the track, but also online, which, as far as I know, is upwards of $1 million. So, you know, I don't know what more to say about that.
Yeah, so they're taking the gambling, and this, if I understand it right, by running this 10 days of racing, gives them the right to keep gambling for 3 more years.
I'm guessing they're going to try and extend their license. The license is 3 years renewable, and they're at the end. So they're going to say, "Hey, Saskatchewan government, we had horse racing this year. We care about it so much, and we're waiting for this new track to get built. We haven't heard anything about that, but it's probably going to happen. And until that happens, we'd like to have the sole license for horse racing in the province, so we can just keep that money without sharing it with anybody else."
Yeah. So I mean, I'm from a farm. I grew up between the city and the farm, actually, and I have nothing against ag people trying to make a living. Even the Manitoba people coming here, right now, people will take whatever they can. It's a drought year. Trust me, people will go a long ways. They can't find place to feed their cattle, everything. And yet these guys are bringing outside crews in to basically keep their gambling going. And in a building, the Sports on Tap bar, which is illegal, I don't care what the solicitor says or the head of planning for Saskatoon, they are not using facts to back up what they're saying. They're just saying something to try to get you to quit looking at it. And you got to look at how many people are involved in this. How many councillors are paid members of Prairieland Park? They pay for that benefit to be there, and they get personal benefit. They get admissions to things, free parking, a whole bunch of other things that they get of that. So there's a financial benefit, and then they go and vote for Prairieland Park while they're on council. They vote on business for that. They don't excuse themselves, and they don't see an ethical problem with that. The solicitor talked about ethics. They talked about ethics only for people assigned by the city of Saskatoon that are assigned to the board of Prairieland Park. She never once mentioned the councillors that pay to be a member of Prairieland Park and that consistently keep voting on business relating to Prairieland Park. And now there's some sort of a secret deal that's been done about this soccer field because Mayor Clark and the councillors voted against a heritage motion, and they mentioned something else is coming. Well, nothing officially has been presented to council in the public view. So they're doing more stuff off camera, which is a lot of what Mayor Clark likes to do lately, is everything's off camera, including killing the farmers market in that ag industry. Now we're paying 1 point something million for to renovate so that somebody can run 2 days of a market guaranteed, and then the rest they're going to do stuff. We still don't know what the license is for that. And these guys here at Prairieland get a freebie, and now what? They're going to want 6 or 7 million from the city or more. They're going to want, because they want us to pay money for their soccer field to try. And the big purpose for it's not even soccer. My kids played soccer. I coached soccer. It's not soccer. It's the gambling for soccer that they really want. If soccer doesn't pay, no big deal. And you know what's going to happen? Anybody that knows where the Ag Center is on Prairieland Park, it's in the way. It's between their soccer field and the World Trade Center. So at some point, somebody's going to go, it smells too bad here with all the cattle next to our soccer field or the horses or just anything. So let's just take it out of there and let's just join the buildings together, and we'll have one big monolithic ag building, except it won't be for agriculture. And I've said this before, but I honestly mean it. Ag people don't screw other ag people. And so 2 things. First, support ag people. Even the people coming for the horse thing, and I think it's a week, the equine show, I have nothing against them. I know they're doing what they need to do, and they'll take every chance to keep trying to make some money and get ahead. But we also, as a society, have to start holding Prairieland to account. And even ag people that don't need to go to these events and don't need to support Prairieland specifically, I'd like you to consider what's going on here, because this has long-reaching implications. They've taken millions of dollars in federal funding, and they're funneling it into this World Trade Center, and the city won't even acknowledge that that's the major use on that site because it would fail zoning. And the secondary largest use on that site is a bar, which is also not legally allowed. So them saying that it is not the truth. So it breaks my heart, Nikki. You're off in the next few days. You're my friend now. I met you, and I've been inspired by you. I think you've done a hell of a lot of things here in a short amount of time, from zero to this, because you were a church mouse before, it sounds like. And so was I, actually, a long time ago. But you're off to Winnipeg to do some racing, and then off to Toronto, and then down to Florida. Yeah. And even at this horse ranch, people say they got to take their horses out of province now. Mm-hmm. Like, what the hell? And they say, Mooseman, I hope that deal does come through someday, but I want to make sure that whatever goes on for horse racing, if anybody has a track in Saskatoon, I want all the horse betting taken away from Prairieland Park, and I want it to stay with the institution that supports agriculture. Right now, Prairieland Park is going to be betting on races from Toronto? Someplace else. Mm-hmm. They're not supporting us. So all they really wanted was the gambling, and they've used us all as pawns to get it. And we need to start waking up to that fact. And Mark Regier has not been honest. He has said so many contradictory statements that I wouldn't trust him to say anything truthful. And now we've just let it go. And we can't. Ag people are hurting not just because of the drought. Things are getting tougher and it's harder to make a living for some groups of people. We should care about them. So support ag. Honestly, I know that's contradictory. Support ag. Try not to support Prairieland Park until they get their head out of their butt and they start doing the right thing. And that could take a while. And a few city councillors need to be shook up to start doing it. The mayor, I think he's a write-off. Honestly, I don't think he could care either way. A few councillors, though, might. And I think the ethics of what's going on here in a plainer light of day are going to start meaning something. So, Nikki, I know you're leaving. It's upset to me. So I want to thank you for what you've done. I really think that you've tried your best to try to get these guys to do the right thing, and they will do everything they can not to.
Yeah.
So I wish you good luck on what you're going to. And I'm hopeful that once Mooseman gets fired up and everything, we'll see you racing here. And maybe when they put out something about the jockeys at that track, they'll make mention of you, and they won't do what Prairieland Park has.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you.